that I've created. And I would like to start by showing you what I call my master plan. And so I'm actually designing this course for my 7th grade English students, and we're getting ready for them to take their end of the year tests, their STAR tests. And so I've created a digital badge challenge for them. So they'll be completing modules that will review all of the important main things that we've covered this year that I know that they'll be tested on. And we're going to be reviewing those with the modules. So I came up with this master plan, and what I have here is my station activities on the first column. So these are all the modules, and I've linked them here. So I can quickly go, I can leave this open on my computer, and I can have really quick access to all of my modules if I need to go refer to something. The second column, I have the assessment that they'll be taking. Now, the assessment will be linked on the station activity for the student, but this is a separate link just for me so that I have it right here in case I need to look at it quickly. I'll be using Zish for my assessments, for most of my assessments. And the reason I like Zish a lot is because although there are a lot of great websites out there, and there are other ones I'm using for other of my modules, but the reason I'm using Zish for most of them is because number one, the Texas Education Agency has actually uploaded assessments that align directly to the standards that I'm teaching my students. So coming straight from them, I know it's exactly aligned to the standards, and it's going to be testing on them on just exactly what I need them to know. The second reason I really like Zish is that they give you opportunities to import follow-up activities after the students have completed the initial assessment. So I can assign a special follow-up activity for my students who get lower than a 50% on that initial assessment. I can assign a different activity for my students who get between a 50 and an 80%. And then I can assign a different activity for my students who get an 80% or more and are showing mastery of the material. So I can build in those learning extensions. So it's a wonderful way to differentiate for my students and to provide them that support if they need it, because some of the students need more time on some areas and some of them will need more time on other areas. And so this really caters to their needs. And then the last column here, I have a badge code. So the badge code is for the digital badges that they'll be earning. And again, so this is kind of just like a catch-all sheet for me, the instructor. So as students finish their modules and they come and show me their work and they're ready for their badge, this is the first thing that students will see. And on slide 2 is their course goal. So I want to make sure it's very clear to them why we're doing this. We are doing this to review our essential standards that they have to know. I want them to be confident. I want them to be proud of their work. And so that's why we're doing this whole thing. And I wanted that to be the very first thing they look at when they open this assignment. The next thing is I kind of go through and explain what a badge challenge is. Some of my students may have not done that before. And so this kind of just shows them what it is. I'm offering an optional like trophy race for those students who are just very competitive. They can kind of be involved in a little trophy race, but every student will have the opportunity to earn the digital badges. You earn those just by completing the modules. And then the race is just kind of extra for my students who are competitive, and that motivates them. Okay, and then I'm explaining to them how this will work. So I'll be posting them in Classroom. They'll complete the assessments and the follow-ups, and then they'll show me their work and they get to earn their badge. So the next thing they need to do is to get their badge challenge set up. And so what I've done here is I actually linked it here. They have to make their own copy of it, and then they have their own now digital badge sheet. And so that's where all their codes will go in. They can see all of the modules that they'll be completing. Everything is on there. I made a video for them, walking them through how to go through the sheet. They'll have to put their name on it. And then other than that, it just shows them how to navigate through that digital badge challenge and hopefully get them excited about earning those badges. The next thing they need to do is join Zish, where I'll be putting most of the assessments. I do teach 2 different types of classes. For English, Foundations is for my struggling learners, and my advanced students are the ones who are for the most part gifted learners. And then lastly, I have a course schedule for them. So these are linked to the modules just so they can get a preview of what those look like and what I'm going to be expecting them to do. So hopefully that will be helpful for them, especially for my students who just really need that assurance and they need to know what we're doing in class that day. This will be helpful for them because they can see what we're doing every single day. And then lastly, I just have a nice message for them as they begin their journey. Okay, and then my course one goes through context clues. So this is vocabulary. The first two modules are both vocabulary actually, because that is so important in English, and a lot of students really get hung up on that part and cannot read the passage and understand the passage because of the vocabulary. So that's why I'm starting with those. Those are important. So with context clues, I'm starting with a video. It is closed captioned for the students who need it, and hopefully that'll be engaging for them. An engaging part, start to the content, somebody's voice other than me, explaining what context clues are. And then they are going to go through with some slides with just some information that they're going to read about and thinking about what context clues are and how it might help. Excuse me. I try to teach my students that if they have to look up every word in a dictionary, then it's just not efficient. And so using context clues is a way to help them read better, read faster, read more efficiently. And so what they'll do is they'll look at first examples. So this is one way to use context clues, and then they'll practice it. And then they look at synonyms and they'll practice it. And then they look at antonyms and they'll practice it. So what I've done here is I've built a very gradual release of responsibility and a gradual way of showing them, like I give them a little bit of content and then they practice it so that it's not all at the end. So there are moments where they're actually reflecting and processing the material I'm giving them. And then we go to definitions and then they practice, parts of speech and they practice, inference and they practice. And then lastly, we just kind of talk about sometimes you just have to make an educated guess. And then we look at, is it necessary? Can you still understand the sentence without knowing what it means? And sometimes that's true. And then to wrap it up, what they'll do, it just kind of reminds them what they're supposed to be doing. So they have to complete the assessment. They need to turn in their work through Google Classroom, and then they can come see me to get their digital badge. And then that last slide just has the link to the assessment that they're going to be taking and the assessment that they're going to be looking for in Zish when they go find it. And then module 2, again, is also about vocabulary. So here I do have a quick little video that I pulled from Khan Academy. Again, a different voice. It also has some drawings in it, so I thought that might entice my students. And then that is also closed caption as well. And then we're going to talk about analyzing roots. And this one is very much a student produced thing because with Greek and Latin roots, I mean, you just kind of have to memorize them. And so this gives them a chance to really play with those Greek and Latin roots. So they're going to look up morph. So they'll be able to use that explore tool in slides to look up these words. They're going to find the definition. They're going to give an example word. They're going to write their own sentence using the example word to show that they understand the meaning. And then they're going to put a picture of it in there as well. So again, that brings in just a kind of a visual to help them remember what these words are. So that is most of these slides here. So for Greek and Latin roots, it'll be quicker, but they'll just be inputting their information. And then I've got a link here to a Quizlet where they can practice using those words they just learned about. So that's going to hopefully help them retain. And then lastly, they'll take their quiz over that, their assessment, and then do the follow-ups. So those are the start here and the first two modules. And then I have some questions to answer for you. So my start here module, like I said, that is going to fit in at the very beginning. That's the very first thing that they'll do as far as the course. And how's your design approach realized? So I'm using Gagne's 9 events of instruction. So these are going to be worked through by walking the learner through the material in a way that's not overwhelming. There's lots of opportunities for them to process. There are some videos to watch, some things to take in, but also times where they're inputting things as well. So it's really slow but steady steps. The main course goal is, of course, in the Start Here module that I showed you. How does the module align outcomes and activities? So I'm actually working in that backwards design, which you saw in my master plan up here. So this is how I'm putting all of those together. It is student-centered because they'll be working through the modules. The instructor's role will just be a mentor. The course is fully online. I'll be introducing the course to them, but and and then it's on them. They'll be doing the rest. And by building a learning a community, some of the modules actually have opportunities for students to work together or to, at the very least, collaborate a little bit with each other by answering questions and replying to others, like a discussion board. It is all synchronous, excuse me, it is all asynchronous. The students will be working on these at their own pace during our class time. So I will be there to support them as they're working. And as far as support needs, students are going to be completing them during class, so I'm right there to help. We have technical support in our district, so we have easy access to, we have a tech person right here on our campus who can help if we need it. Our district has plenty of support for that. Everything I have here is closed captions, so I believe I'm setting my learners up for success.